talking about files. I'm not talking about the guns. I'm not a licensed gun manufacturer. I don't make guns at this location. I have data. I can share the data.
When somebody downloads a gun from your website with your blueprints and kills somebody with it, how are you going to feel personally?
I don't believe that I provided you anything other than the general knowledge of what an AR-15 is.
What makes you comfortable with a world where people can pump out guns in their garage anytime they want to?
What's going to make me comfortable is when people stop coming in this office and acting like there's a debate about it. The debate is over. The guns are downloadable. The files are in the public domain. You cannot take them back. You can adjust your politics to this reality. You will not ask me to adjust mine.
Good for him.
Now this is really beyond unreasonable. And it's not a very serious proposal. During Judge Kagan's confirmation, then Chairman Leahy was adamant that documents merely mentioning Justice Kagan's name shouldn't be produced. And this is just one example of Democratic leaders not following the Kagan standard. The motive behind the unreasonable demands for documents is obvious. Democratic leaders want to stall Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation any way possible. They hope to bury the Senate in mountains of irrelevant documents to delay his confirmation hearing and perhaps deny him a vote during this current Congress. The ranking member's hometown newspaper reported this scheme over the weekend. The headline read something using the word stall. So the San Francisco Chronicle called it, quote, a tactic that could postpone a decision until after the midterm elections, end of quote. The article explained that, and I quote again, the Democratic strategy is to demand to see every document that crossed Kavanaugh's desk while he served as President George W. Bush's staff secretary from 2003 to 2006. In other words, the Democratic leaders are demanding these documents in order to needlessly delay the process rather than for legitimate purposes. But these tactics aren't going to work. Let me address some of the minority leader's specific points. He says that traditionally the Senate Judiciary Committee sends a bipartisan letter requesting documents. And he said that we should have sent out this letter 2 weeks ago. What the minority leader fails to point out is that my staff worked extensively with the ranking member staff to attempt to identify specific staff secretary records that might be of some interest to the Democrats. But the Democratic staff wasn't interested in a reasonable compromise, including my attempts to get them even more documents than the up to 1 million pages of documents that we're already in the process of receiving. After multiple rounds of negotiation, the ranking member staff still hadn't budged from their position that they're entitled to access any of the millions and million pages of documents that ever went through the Bush White House. These demands were unprecedented, were unreasonable, and were obviously intended to delay the confirmation process. I couldn't allow this tactic to further delay this important business of the committee, so I sent a records request for the White House console documents as chairman because we need to keep this process moving. We can't be stalling. It's unfortunate that the ranking member didn't agree to sign it because the letter requested documents that both sides agreed we should have. Both sides agreed with the documents that were in my letter, but no signature from the minority. Then the minority leader, Senator Schumer, also says that we should have followed the precedent established during Justice Kagan's nomination. In suggesting this point, he is rewriting history. He may not know that, but he is. He conveniently forgets that both Democrats and Republicans agreed that we shouldn't repeat documents from, we shouldn't request documents from Justice Kagan's time as Solicitor General. Everyone agreed that the Kagan Security Solicitor General documents were too sensitive for disclosure and in fact could chill the candidness of internal deliberations in for future presidents and their consul, their Solicitor General. This same respect for confidentiality should apply with greater force then to staff secretary documents, which include some of the most sensitive policy advice going directly to a president, in this case, President George W. Bush. Indeed, the White House staff secretary is essentially the inbox and outbox for the President of the United States. Now, that's not to say that it's not a very important position, but it doesn't get involved in much policy. The Senate's current task force is to evaluate the qualifications of Judge Kavanaugh, not to relitigate every political and policy disagreement from President George W. Bush's 8 years in the White House. As my Democratic colleagues keep pointing out, Judge Kavanaugh has described how his time as staff secretary was a formative experience for him. Well, Justice Kagan said the same thing about her time as Solicitor General. But in the case of Kagan, the Democrats refused to request her records. On top of the undisputed relevance of Solicitor General's material, Judge Kagan, however, lacked a judicial record. In other words, unlike the more than 300 opinions that Judge Kavanaugh authored and the hundreds more opinions that he joined in his 12 years of service on the D.C. Circuit, Justice Kagan had 0 judicial opinions that she offered, 0 judicial opinions that she joined, and 0 years of judicial service. Her Solicitor General documents were therefore even more relevant. Democratic leaders then are rewriting the Kagan standard to further their stalling tactics. The minority leader also tried to draw a parallel or parallels with the request for documents from Justice Sotomayor's time as a board member of the Puerto Rican Legal Defense and Education Fund. This, however, was a narrow request closely tailored to a specific need for information. It resulted in the production of approximately 100 documents, not millions of documents that are involved with the White House staff secretary. In contrast, Democratic leaders demand access to every single one of the millions and millions of pages of emails and other records from every one of the 100 staffers who served in the White House with Judge Kavanaugh. As I have said repeatedly, I will not put the American taxpayers on the hook for a Senate Democrats' fishing expedition. Clearly losing on the substantive arguments, the minority leader has even resorted to personally attacking Mr. Bill Burke, President George W. Bush's attorney. Mr. Burke has been one of President Bush's designated representatives for the Presidential Records Act going way back to 2009. He is a leading partner in one of America's most respected and I think most liberal law firms. And I'm told that he has insisted that no lawyer be selected to participate in the review of President Bush's White House papers on the basis of his or her party affiliation or political ideology. Moreover, Mr. Burke has taken the time to personally meet with the ranking member staff and answer all of their questions about the document review process that I'm describing to you here. The minority leader said at a press conference today that the review by President Bush's lawyers, quote, wouldn't be so bad if we also got a full set of documents from the archives, end of quote. Well, that's exactly what I expect to happen. In other words, a full set of documents from the archives. President Bush has offered to give us access to copies of documents that we requested from the archivist so that we on the committee can quickly begin our review of Judge Kavanaugh's record while the archives works through our document request. The minority leader could have learned this by simply having a conversation with me instead of putting on a political show in front of TV cameras earlier today. I must also address the minority leader's unprecedented intervention into the business of the Judiciary Committee. The minority leader is not a member of that committee. We're not going to let him run the committee. I'm chairman of that committee. He has no business inserting himself into the committee's business,
That's right.
including the manner in which the committee will obtain the documents needed to review Judge Kavanaugh's record.
Tell Schumer,
Last week,
back
he sent
off,
a letter to
asswipe.
President George W. Bush, asking him to release all records from Judge Kavanaugh's service in the White House, while at the same time criticizing the way that President Bush has chosen to review those records. This letter was an inappropriate attempt to meddle in the committee's business,
Yep.
and I'm disappointed that my Democratic colleagues on the committee are tolerating that sort of intervention. I have also learned that the minority leader called the archivist on Monday and asked him to, quote, unquote, do the right thing with regard to the documents. I was disappointed to hear that the minority leader was attempting to pressure a government official, one appointed by President Obama, can you believe, with regard to the committee's business. I also want to address one argument that my colleague on the Judiciary Committee, the senior senator from Illinois, has made. My colleague believes Judge Kavanaugh misled the committee during his 2006 confirmation hearing when he said he was not involved in developing the Bush administration's detention and interrogation policies. The senior senator pointed to a media report that described a 2002 meeting in the White House in which Judge Kavanaugh advised whether his former boss, Justice Kennedy, would accept a legal argument about American citizens' access to counsel. These allegations have no merit, and here's why. Offering advice on the potential success of a legal position suggested by others, meaning others in the White House staff secretary, does not show involvement in developing detention and interrogation policies. Multiple sources have confirmed that Judge Kavanaugh wasn't involved in developing detention and interrogation policies. Moreover, these allegations were already referred to the Department of Justice which concluded that they didn't even warrant opening an investigation. I will further point out that this 2002 meeting occurred while Judge Kavanaugh was in the White House counsel's office, and as I have explained, the entire Senate, or at least the entire Judiciary Committee, is going to have access to Judge Kavanaugh's White House consul records. In short, I'm proud to preside over what will be the most transparent confirmation process in history. As they have said publicly, Democratic leaders are firmly opposed to Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation. And they have also said they will do whatever it takes to defeat Judge Kavanaugh. They would like to bury the Senate in a mountain of irrelevant documents to delay the confirmation process as long as possible. And as you can tell from my remarks today, and my remarks 3 or 4 times since Judge Kavanaugh was appointed, I'm not going to allow the minority to abuse the process. I yield the floor.
Old saying in media, if you don't have something nice to say, you'll do great. Luckily, the press has Trump, so they never have anything nice to say. Eventually, this starts to become a problem. Since Trump got elected, doctors are seeing patients suffering from Trump anxiety disorder, or TAD. The symptoms of TAD? Feeling like the world is ending. I wonder why.
Donald Trump and his erratic behavior could be leading the United States towards World War III.
We're talking about annihilating millions of people. Yeah.
If this border wall happens, it will be an unprecedented environmental catastrophe.
We can't begin to normalize this. This is dangerous, this is childish, this is unpresidential.
This is it, the end of the presidential race, and it feels like the end of the world.
Never gets old. But that's why you really can't mock the ill when there's a whole industry selling them this kind of terror. As their go-to evil, the media has replaced climate change with Trump change. Everything bad in this world is now due to Trump, even as life improves. We've never been in a better spot with North Korea. GDP's going up, unemployment keeps shrinking. Optimism is higher than Willie Nelson. Yet if you listen to the other guys, the sky isn't just falling, it's already fallen and it can't get up. It needs life alert. But as much as the Chicken Littles hate Trump, where would they be without him? Trump's election created a need that we didn't know we had. The media has never been louder, celebrities have never been shoutier, academia has never been more strident. So haters, imagine if Trump were to disappear. How large a hole would there be in the lives of CNN and Morning Joe and Chelsea Handler? You think these people suffer from Trump anxiety? Wait till you see Trump withdrawal.
I wasted everyone's time. I wasted everyone's everything, and I feel bad. You don't think I feel bad?
I know that. You can't go back after Donald. He's added something to politics that we haven't seen, which is speed. Not the drug, the energy. It's the first time in 8 years so many in the media are sweating. Anxiety isn't from the apocalypse. It's from trying to keep up.
March 4th, 2016.
You want me to read this?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. OMG, he's an idiot.
May 4th, 2016.
This is Mr. Isa and Peter Stroke.
Now the pressure really starts to finish MYE.
July 19th, 2016.
Hi, how is Trump other than a douche? Melania?
July 21st, 2016.
Trump is a disaster. I have no idea how destabilizing his presidency would be.
August 6th, 2016.
I don't believe I wrote this text, sir.
Okay, it's been attributed to you, so we'll go on to the next.
Incorrect.
August 8th, 2016. And I'll preface it by saying this for context. Ms. Page said, not ever going to become president, right? Right?
No, he's not. We'll stop it.
Repeat that again.
No, he's not. We'll stop it.
August 15th, 2016.
I want to believe the path you threw out for consideration in Andy's office, that there's no way he gets elected, but I'm afraid we can't take that risk. It's like an insurance policy in the unlikely event you die before you're 40.
On October 20th, 2016.
I can't pull away what the, and I defer to the chairman whether
you can just use one letter if you don't mind.
Why the F? What the F happened to our country, Lise?
Okay, read it again that way.
Sir, did you not? Was
no,
not
I just want to hear it.
You just want to hear it for me to repeat it?
Please.
Okay, sir. Sure. Happy to indulge you. I can't pull away what the F happened to our country, Lise.
Why in the world do you believe that this committee should not ask for the record of similar text from your private account to find out what else you might have said about insurance policies or about the President of the United States or investigation? That is a rhetorical question you need not answer, and I yield back.
Mr. Chairman.
Now you can watch your values too. Let's face it, cable TV is anti-American.
This is what it looks like when a president fails in every way.
They support liberal causes.
And the worst you can say about the Democrats is they're too pure.
Unpatriotic speech.
The truth is under daily assault from the President of the United States.
And the undermining of freedom.
If you vote for Trump, you're the bad guy.
As I said, a combination of things. A gut feeling is an important overlay on but the circumstances that I was alone, the subject matter, and the nature of the person that I was interacting with, and my read of that person. And yeah, and really just a gut feel laying on top of all of that, that it's going to be important to protect this organization, that I make records of this.
Remember that, just in case we ever face to face and make contact. The title held by me, M.I.B. means what you think you saw, you did not see. So don't be what was dead is now gone. Black suit with the black Ray-Bans on. Walk a shadow, move a siren, guard against extraterrestrial violence. But we ain't on no government list. We straight don't exist, no names and no fingerprints. Saw something strange, watch your back, cause you never quite know where the M.I.B.s is at. Of the darkest of night on the horizon, bright light into sight tight, camera zoom on the impending doom. But then like boom, black suits fill the room up with the quickest talk with the witnesses.